Let's cross to Auschwitz and correspondent Gulliver Cragg. Gulliver, how would you describe this 75th anniversary?
Very moving, and also with some quite contradictory speeches. Batsheva Dagan, who we just heard there, the words we heard were about the terrible inhumanity of Auschwitz, but later on in her speech she also went on to talk about the humanity that she did find here, the human kindness, and also the strength that she found in herself to study while she was here. And she said that those are things that we also need to be transmitting to the younger generations when we talk about the horror here. We also heard horror from Rosa Baker, who was half Sinti and so was put in the gypsy camp. One thing that stuck very much in my mind was when she said that she remembered being an 8-year-old girl coming out of the barrack where she was in, seeing flames and hearing adult voices saying, oh, they've run out of gas, so they're putting them directly onto the fire. Among the Holocaust survivors, there were 4 of them who spoke, 2 of them Jewish Poles, 1 Jewish resistant, and Eva Baker, who was a Sinti. They all said, of course, it's extremely important to remember, all the more important as there are fewer and fewer of us around, and important to make this never happen again. One of them, Marian Turski, went into a bit more detail about that and talked about the fact that it's absolutely a possibility that it could happen again, as the famous Italian writer and Holocaust survivor Primo Levi said, and the fact that authoritarianism in Nazi Germany and elsewhere crept up slowly. Intolerance came in slowly. The idea that it was okay to hate people of another race was sort of slowly embedded into the populations, and that people need to be vigilant all over the world, that Auschwitz doesn't happen suddenly, it creeps up slowly. And he said that it's the 11th commandment that the Holocaust has taught us, which is that you should not be indifferent. And in his speech, I think he was making very, very clear allusion to the democratic backsliding that is going on here in Poland. He almost quoted the leader of the ruling party in Poland, Jarosław Kaczynski, who had a couple of years ago warned that immigrants could be bringing diseases. He quoted it without actually saying his name, but saying that that's the sort of thing that we really need to be on the lookout for, because those are the kinds of discourses that can lead to hatred. And that was perhaps the most political of the 4 speeches made by the Holocaust survivors.
Let's talk about the host nation, Poland, because we covered extensively, Gulliver, last Thursday when they had that ceremony in Jerusalem where 40 world leaders attended, but Polish President Andrzej Duda elected to stay away. This time he spoke. Let's listen to the Polish president.
Here, hatred, chauvinism, nationalism, racism, and anti-Semitism took on the form of mass, organized, and methodical murder. At no other time, in no other place, was an extermination carried out in such a manner.
Yeah, now Duda, who earlier, and you could say in answer to Vladimir Putin's speech last Thursday in Jerusalem, said the Poles were victims, not perpetrators of the Holocaust.
Yes, and Andrzej Duda is not the only person saying that. Immediately after Vladimir Putin suggested that Poland was in some way co-responsible for the outbreak of World War II, there was a chorus of indignation from diplomats and politicians around the world saying that's absolutely not the case. Poland was very much a victim, and Andrzej Duda earlier on today in a press briefing with his Israeli counterpart said he hoped that that had now been cleared up. But Andrzej Duda went on in that briefing with Reuven Rivlin to say that he was very unhappy about the ceremony that was held at Yad Vashem in Jerusalem last Thursday, not just because of the fact that he wasn't invited to speak, despite being the president of the nation that lost the most of its citizens in the Holocaust, and the nation on which the Auschwitz-Birkenau concentration camp is cited, but also, he said, because he felt that not enough attention was being paid to Poland's contribution to fighting the Nazis, to the Polish resistance, the Polish government in exile, and all the things Polish people did to try to defeat Nazi Germany.
Gulliver Cragg reporting live from the Auschwitz concentration camp memorial commemorations for that 75th anniversary of the liberation of the camp. Earlier, there was a ceremony here in